Hi, I'm Stefany, owner of DMC Travel Tailor, and today I'm here with Liz Coleman, Director of Sales for Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin is a luxury cruise company that sails in Tahiti, French Polynesia, Fiji, and South Pacific. In 2019, they joined the Ponant family, which is a world leader in small ship cruising. Hi, Liz. Thanks for being with me here today.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So now I've had the request, a few times where people say, I want to go to Tahiti, I want to go to Bora Bora, but they don't actually realize where it is. So can you share with us how we get there?
Absolutely. You know what? It's really the perfect place to start because I feel like this destination, among others, but this one in particular, people dream about it. They don't really know where it is, what it's all about. And
Yeah.
I think that when you can sort of dispel the myth that you can really get there from here, like wherever you are in the United States or other places, it
Yeah.
really then um, fuels that desire. So if you are familiar with Los Angeles, if you can get yourself to Los Angeles into Papeete, Tahiti is about 8 hours.
Yeah.
If you when you look at the map, if anyone's ever been to Hawaii, from Los Angeles into Hawaii, that's about 6 hours. So we're only a movie and a drink away. How about that?
I love
But
that.
the other thing is if you look at sort of like where the equator is, French Polynesia, Tahiti is equidistant south of the equator as Hawaii is north of the equator. So it's a sister island. We're on the same time zone, the same weather pattern. So that helps to put it on the map, so to speak, for people.
Right, right. And it's not that bad when you look at the flight portion from LA, because then some people might want to break up the trip and maybe do an overnight in LA beforehand and have that California experience pre and then take it on
Right.
the Papayete.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, so I'm in the Boston area. You're on the East Coast as well. Breaking it up sometimes for a lot of people makes good sense.
Yeah.
And while you can go out of LA, you can actually go out of San Francisco as well as a potential option.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Would you say there's an itinerary that's really popular that stands out?
So yes, it would be the 7 night sailing, covering the Society Islands. But let me just take a step back and just kind of give you a high level. French Polynesia is made up of 5 Polynesian islands, and we actually go to 3 out of the 5 Polynesian island chains. The most popular island, or island chain rather, is called the Society Islands. And on the 7 night sailing, we'll start on the big island of Tahiti. That's where we'll embark and disembark. We'll sail to Huahine. We'll spend a day in Taha, which is the vanilla island. And then we'll actually spend 2 days in Bora Bora, 2 days in Moorea, and then sail back to Tahiti. If you wanted a longer sailing, then we'll still incorporate that particular island chain on some of the other itineraries as well.
It sounds delightful. I know I've been to more Moorea, and I had an overwater bungalow. And one of my favorite things that I loved about it is that I would just jump off my dock and snorkel. I love to snorkel, and I would see those big, bright, colorful fish, like just right there, right? That clear water. It's very dreamlike.
I know. How long, when did you go and how long did you stay? Were you able to see some of the other islands as well?
Oh gosh, you're gonna jog my memory. It was a few years back. We also stayed in Papayete, but we just took it right to Moorea. That's where we wanted to stay, and we were at the Sofitel there. And I also got talked into doing a swimming with the sharks, which I never thought I would have done because I'm kind of scared of sharks. But
Yeah,
it was actually kind of fun because it felt like an underwater Broadway show, which was
I know. I know. And
yeah.
you know what? When you look at all the different marine life that's out there and swimming with the sharks and the stingrays, and I've done all of it and I live to tell about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Um,
Monterey's, they were so soft because we did that too.
yeah,
It was the same excursion that, where we watched, we were kind of swimming with the sharks. We were holding on to this rope and our guide was feeding them. So they were all, going in this frenzy, like this
yeah,
circle trying to get the food. And then after we were swimming with the Monterey's. So that was, yeah, that was
it
really,
was
it was cool.
amazing.
They were so soft.
Yeah, they are. A little rubbery, but soft and
Yeah.
rubbery.
Yeah, it's a nice rubbery.
You can tell I'm not like a real diver. I prefer to actually be on top of the water instead of like too far below. But you know what? The waters, that's one of the reasons people decide to go to Tahiti, French Polynesia, is because of, yes, the marine life, but the crystal blue waters. It is,
Yeah.
sometimes when you look at these pictures, you're like, okay, that's definitely airbrushed, and it's not.
No, no, and it's just so peaceful, those overwater bungalows. And I had a little cutout in my room where you could see the sea below, and it was just, yeah, it's exquisite. But so now when you're in each place, can you give us an idea of how long do you stay in each place?
Yes. So the itineraries are designed to make sure that any one person has enough time to do exactly what they want. We feel that when you join us, it's a fully customizable experience. So on the 7 night sailing, which we were talking about a moment ago, there's one day in Huahine, and we leave really at sunset on each of the Huahine, Taha. The two most popular islands in that 7 night sailing is Bora Bora and Moorea. And for that reason, we spend 2 full days, one overnight in each in those islands. And you know what? It's a 7 night sailing, but for that reason that you might want to stay longer because you're like, no, I can't go home yet.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They probably don't want to go, and so then they want to stay. And are people able to do extensions anywhere, or is that just in the Pacific?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, as a matter of fact, I think when you think about the islands of Tahiti, a lot of people don't realize, one, that there is a cruise there. I mean, honestly, I never did. I mean, I didn't realize it. I always thought about that overwater bungalow. People think about that the hotel on stilts, if you will.
Yeah.
And while I think that's an awesome experience, you can do it before or after your stay. I think doing it actually before your cruise, if you're going to do the cruise, is actually optimum, only because when you have something that is leaving at a very specific time, you want to make sure you're there on time. So I think that coming in a couple days before, doing a pre-stay in one of those overwater bungalows, and then getting on the ship and then sailing effortlessly and seamlessly from place to place is a home run.
Yeah.
However, Stephanie, if you don't have enough time on the front or the back end, we actually, because we spend 2 days in Bora Bora and 2 days in Moorea, you can actually have an overwater bungalow experience during the cruise as well.
That's
So it's an
true.
option. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. And I could see how that would be relaxing, especially after, the long flight getting there, for them to be able to relax and kind of get accustomed to the time zone. That would be ideal. But either way, I mean, it would be wonderful to stay to stay there. Now, one of the things I love about Paul Gauguin is that you guys are all about immersing in the culture, and I love that because I oftentimes find that that's what clients find most memorable
yeah,
about road trips, are these unique experiences they have. So can you tell us about some of those experiences?
yeah. So you're right. We think about why people travel. It's to learn about destinations, areas that are unfamiliar, where they want to have a better understanding about where they came from, right?
Yeah.
And then there's culture, there's people. And when you know and learn about a group of people that are so very different than your own, there's sort of a humility attached to it.
Yeah.
And the French Polynesian culture, I think, is one of warmth, hospitality, kindness. And when you combine, the people of that territory with this beautiful backdrop, you
Yeah.
feel like you've gone to heaven, because there's this appreciation for this beautiful landscape, unbelievable crystal blue waters, and then these wonderful people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I know there was the dancing, the
Oh,
Tahitian.
You know what? I'm laughing because, there's programming on the ship. So we have 7 Polynesian hosts that
Yeah.
live with us on the ship. They are born and raised in the islands, and they live with us on the ship. So by day, they're running different activities. So it could be like ukulele lessons. It could be, singing. It could be this Tahitian dance that you're referring to.
Yeah.
They used to call it Tahitian Zumba. And then someone said, it's not Zumba. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I'm going to call it Zumba because it was so fun. What they're able to do with their hips is quite amazing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then, so they're running different activities on the ship that give you a better understanding about who these people are and what's important to them.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, the entertainment, if you will, is still culturally based. It's presentations by the Tahitians. Sometimes we bring on the children from Huahine. It's crew run, but it really does give you a greater appreciation and understanding of the people who were born and raised there.
And I think that's awesome because I think that adds so much to the whole experience because, it is about a beautiful place, but it's also about the culture. And I think a lot of people find that fascinating.
Right.
Now, I understand Paul Gauguin is all inclusive. So can you tell us what all is included?
Yeah, and that's another great question because I think the term all inclusivity means different things to different people, right?
Yeah, true.
So for us, we start with round trip economy airfare from Los Angeles, potentially San Francisco as well, depending upon the flight. And then all of your meals, wines, spirits, room service, gratuities. I mean, it's really, you're not wanting for anything. Yeah. As a matter of fact, there's a water sports marina that comes down off the back of the ship. Imagine yourself kayaking or paddleboarding off the back of the ship. I mean, it's like those pinch me moments, right?
Yeah, surrounded by water. It's so peaceful. And there's something I love being on boats. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I love just that feeling of freedom I get when I'm out there on the water. And so yeah, doing any of those sports, that's like, sign me up.
I know. And it's, and the thing is the waters are just so placid.
Yeah.
So it's effortless, I mean, I've spoken to people, who've never paddleboarded before. It's like, oh, can I do it or whatever, but it's just so relaxing and it's actually quite easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it before. And yeah, you do get the hang of it. Yeah, it's lovely. It's definitely
You're
a great
thinking
feeling.
about going there. It's so funny. It's so funny that you just did that. So, when I ask people to think about their most treasured experience, the place that brought them the most joy, and it doesn't matter. It could be in your backyard, it could be some other place domestically, or it could be across the pond somewhere, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's something that a place does, and it makes people go, like they think about it, right? And you are starting to do that, like, oh my gosh, it's really amazing. Well, if you want that kind of experience, that's what this does for people. It makes them stop and go, treasure the moment.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine because it's just like putting you back into that feeling that you had when you were there, which is great, and the memories that come from it. Now you mentioned the free round trip air, which
Yes.
I think is unbelievable because not everybody does that. Now, would people have the option to upgrade to business class doing that?
Absolutely. So the first thing I will tell you about the air is that when you take our air program, I mean, because honestly, if you wanted to separate it, you could get an air credit, but there's so few carriers that go in. So it really does make, I think, more sense to keep it bundled. And when you do that, we include all of the transfers and the as needed day rooms, especially if, we're leaving late at night or we're arriving early in the morning or leaving late at night. That's the first thing. And the second thing is if you need a little bit more space, you can certainly upgrade as well without a problem.
That's awesome. And so, I'm a Virtuoso travel advisors. What type of amenities would people expect to get if they booked with me?
Yes, absolutely. Besides you, which is so special.
Well, I'm not going to be on the trip, but like that sounded kind of bad. I'm like,
host a trip, travel with your favorite friends and your clients. Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing. But you know what? shout out to you, because I do know what you bring to the table, and you have affiliated yourself with a travel organization that does breed the best of the best in terms of service levels and amenities. And our amenity program is on select sailings. You can either get a shipboard credit. I mean, what else do you get when everything is included?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So an amenity, which is a shipboard credit, or it's a hosted sailing where you can get a complimentary shore excursion, cocktail party, but just making sure that a Virtuoso host is on board to take care of everything that you need.
That is awesome. And of course, I have to ask this question, being that we're, kind of in this COVID environment still. What are some of the safety measures that are in place? Do you guys have safety measures in place?
Absolutely. So the first thing I will say is not one crew member or guest has had COVID,
That's
right?
awesome.
And Tahiti, French Polynesia, has only had like 60 cases, and all of them have recovered. So it is really a very well-preserved, well-protected place. And Paul Gauguin Cruises with Ponant, Ponant is really kind of leading the charge, has taken unbelievable safety and security measures to make sure that our crew and our guests are the safest that they can be. So that not only means protecting yourself and verifying that you're healthy to travel,
Yeah.
but also once you get to the destination, once you get on board, we've had to adjust some of the space to make sure that we are still safe, but we have taken really great pains to make sure that it's a safe environment for our guests.
And I always love what you say, that statistic about Hawaii. Can you tell us that? Because I think that kind of puts it into perspective. Because I don't think people realize that there's such a
Right.
difference in tourism levels.
So one of the things that people think about it when they go, like wanting to go to Tahiti, French Polynesia, they think about authenticity, and they think about a really natural, non-commercialized experience, right?
Yeah.
And so then the next question comes up, well, Hawaii is just so much closer, right? And I'm like, well, no, it's only 2 hours further. That's number one. And what's not to love about Hawaii, but it does have a considerable more amount of tourism. And so much so we get as much tourism in 1 year as Hawaii gets in 7 days.
Wow.
And
I
isn't
know.
that amazing?
No,
Yeah,
it blew my mind when you first told me, and so that's why I thought it was good to bring up, because yeah, it does put it into perspective.
right. And even I'll take it one step further. So I mentioned that I didn't mention then how many islands make up Tahiti, French Polynesia. It's 118 islands and atolls, right?
Hmm.
There are 275,000 inhabitants in French Polynesia, and about 75% of those live, just over 100,000, on the big island of Tahiti. So that means that all these other islands that you might be exploring are either virtually uninhabited or uninhabited. So
Yeah.
it does then, it does, I think, one, set pace for the Joneses if you want to outdo them. Uncharted territory. But it is a really peaceful, serene experience, and a natural way to get in touch with. It's almost spiritual, I would say, because it's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
No, I agree. And yeah, I mean, and it is that a lot of people, I think, feel, and I know I do. I feel spiritual when I'm in nature, which I love. And I think what I love about Paul Gauguin is also the ships and their size, because they're small. And I
Yeah.
think when some people think of cruising, they think of these, oh, I'm going to be on a ship with 5,000 people or 2,000 people. So
Mhm.
can you tell us, like, just in your mind, what makes Paul Gauguin so special?
Right. Well, you just hit it. It's the size, right? And the service. So, yes. So, cruising means different things to different people, right? And I think there's something out there for everybody. In our case, it's the destination that makes it so special, and it's the cruising that optimizes that ability to get around and watch the world go by, or to be able to immerse yourself, to be able to engage on your terms. The
Yeah.
ship sleeps just over 300 guests, 166 staterooms, although we're going to be going through some renovations, so I think it'll become a little bit smaller than that. And our crew it's over 200 crew.
Wow.
So for every guest, there's for every crew member, there's 1.5 guests approximately. I mean, so they know your name, they know your drink. And even if we sail at capacity, you don't feel like it's full. There's lots of open space, you never have to reserve a chaise lounge for your, for your towel,
Awesome.
right? Sit around the pool or what have you. So it's just, and it's the service levels. This is what makes it so, you feel like you've left a family at the
Yeah,
end,
that's awesome. Well, and all the rooms have balconies, right? The verandas?
Almost 70% have balconies. So I always recommend a balcony if you can do it. But we do have a number of portholes and windows just in case you can't make it quite up. Or maybe you're taking your family and maybe your children haven't earned the right to have a balcony yet.
And speaking of families, so would you say it's a good cruise for families?
Oh my gosh. Stefany, I think it's for everyone and anyone. It just depends upon where you are in life.
I agree.
Families, though, in particular, it's amazing. In fact, I took my kids a number of years ago when they were 6, 9, and 14, and they're like, Mom, when are we going back? It was magical. But you know why I think families, this can resonate with families? Because now more than ever, especially now, it's about connections, it's about reconnections, right? And so many of us haven't been able to re-engage with our families, or we haven't been able to see our parents or our grandparents. And quite frankly, even before this, people were like, or grandparents were like, I want to see my kids, my grandkids. So when you decide to descend and assemble a group of like-minded people, like-minded travelers, this really becomes something terrific for educational purposes for the kids, as well as the parents and the grandparents. There's something for everyone. And during the summer and the last 2 sailings of the year, we have a family youth program catering to children. It's complimentary, 7 to 15 years old. It's amazing.
Wow. That's really cool. No, and I love the bonding that it does bring families or loved ones or, couples going together. But I can see how that would be cool for families because, a lot of times they're spread out. They live in different states. And so the family vacation is a great way to bring everybody in one place and just have that quality time together.
Yes, absolutely. For those that want to still travel with their families.
Yeah. Well, just thinking that they do. I'm like painting that picture.
Well, you know what though? I do. I happen to love to travel with my family, my parents. We actually every single year assemble a group of people, and the group has gotten to be big enough that other people are like, I've heard about your trips. Can we come?
Wow.
And it's unbelievable. It's so fun. But you know what's so great about it is that when you select the right program, I'm going to call it a program, it allows your travelers, your family, your friends to come and go as they please on their terms, and then assemble when they want.
That's true.
So it doesn't feel like, even if you're traveling as a group, that you have to be held hostage and be chained at the hip. You can still come and go as you please. That's why I think it's so amazing.
It is. It really is. And just like, we were talking earlier about the water sports and, the different types of activities. I mean, not everybody has to partake in them. It's, you just do whatever you want to do. And that is nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to chat with me on Zoom here.
This is great. I love it.
Yeah, I know. It's exciting. Yeah. And I mean, I hope to be booking sometime perhaps for 2021 a Paul Gauguin cruise. I think that would be great for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish you and your family all the best, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, and same to you. I'll see you. Bye, Liz.
Bye. Thank you.